How often do you find yourself saying, do I have to? Do I have to? To things in your life, to things in your marriage? Well, we want to move from, do I have to I get to.
In our last episode, we talked about a passionate mindset and how it takes a passionate mindset to build a passionate marriage. How you view your spouse in marriage is really important because when you think rightly, you tend to do rightly. So we're going to talk about a few things, example of wrong thinking versus right thinking.
Or if you don't want to do right or wrong, helpful thinking and not so helpful thinking.
So a less than helpful way of thinking is, I'm going to get my fair share in this relationship.
Instead of, I am going to learn to give without condition.
Less helpful thinking is something like, we're going to go for 50-50, even Steven, all the way.
But then I'm always looking at that measurement instead of saying, let's go for 100 and 100.
100 is the best way to go.
And if you're ever at 80, then I'll try to do that extra 20 or vice versa.
Another way to think about marriage wrongly is to say that equality is the best measure of a good marriage.
Well, that's not exactly helpful, but selfless love is a great goal.
The marriage advice that the world gives is not the marriage advice that God gives. He says in Romans 12:2, don't conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is for his good, pleasing, and perfect will.
So when we look at meeting our spouse's needs as an obligation on our very full to-do list or as something I have to do, it just really steals our passion. And we've been talking about passion. And if we can let go even of the idea of right or wrong ways of doing marriage, but just letting it be something that is flowing from what is alive inside of us that we might have to bring alive, it just brings your passion alive. But that duty, that obligation is a passion killer. I'll give you an example. If I feel like I have to have sex, if I feel like there's this big expectation, suddenly I don't want to. And as soon as I find out I don't have to, then I want to. Like, it really is a passion killer. None of us like to be
an obligation.
In your faith, if you are bound by legalism, by rules that you're trying to follow, by feeling guilty if you don't spend this much time in your quiet time, that's not the heart of God. The heart of God wants
relationship.
He wants relationship. And it's exactly the same in our marriage. So when I start to feel like, oh, do I have to? That's kind of a warning sign to go, I want to get to the place where I feel like I get to live in a relationship with someone. I get to live life connected to someone else. I get to experience God's love through someone else. There's so much more in the get to than the do I have to.
He wants to replace that duty in my heart toward him with my delight in him. And he wants to do the same thing in our marriage. Yeah. He wants to replace duty with delight.
I want to be so overflowing from receiving the love of God that it just pours out on everyone around me, but especially on that person that I have a covenant relationship with.
If you want to release love into your marriage, you have to become love. You want to be love. And to become love, you have to first receive love. That is, to receive the love of God. In short, if you want to be a lover, you have to learn to be a beloved. If you're interested in learning more about a passionate marriage and sustaining the passion in your marriage for the long term, check out my book, Pump Up the Passion. We'll leave a link below.